Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and well, it is almost August 1st, 2022, and you know what that means, another massive LEGO Buyer's Guide. So in case you haven't seen this type of video before, I essentially will be going through every single new LEGO set releasing on August 1st, giving my quick thoughts and opinions on every single set divided up by theme, and essentially recommending what are the best sets to obtain on August 1st. Now, much like many other years, LEGO's releasing a ton of sets for this particular month. There's a lot of really interesting stuff here, so of course I have divided up every single theme in the description below. If say you're only interested in one particular LEGO theme, just go down to the description. You can just go ahead and click it, and you'll jump to that particular theme to see all of these sets being released. One final note is that I will not be covering polybags or any associated exclusive items, because typically these aren't available everywhere. I'm really just trying to showcase every single one of the August 1st, 2022 sets that are coming out in North America in a few days. And one last note to that as well, of course some of these sets have been released a little bit early in some other parts of the world. I do want to make a note of that because LEGO does tend to change up the release cycle somewhat, so this is focused on the North American region. So in case some of these sets look familiar to you, or if you already own them, maybe they just came out a little bit earlier in your region. But so without further ado, let's just jump right in and kick things off with our first LEGO theme. Alright, so here's how this is going to work. First of all, there's a number of sets that release worldwide on August 1st. It doesn't matter if you live in the US or Europe or beyond, they release at the same time everywhere. So I'm going to start off with those particular sets because, as you may recall, many of the US-based August 1st sets already came out in Europe and Asia on June 1st. So it is a pretty big difference because that information may not be new for a lot of people watching the video. However, what you're about to see, and I will specify, are the sets that are guaranteed to release on August 1st across every region. And we're gonna be starting off with a big one, LEGO Star Wars. So Star Wars this year is doing some pretty interesting stuff for the second half of the year, focusing on some of the animated shows like Bad Batch, as well as tying back to Episode 2 Attack of the Clones because it is the anniversary of the movie itself, plus making a lot of sets based on some of the recent and upcoming TV shows like Obi-Wan Kenobi, as well as the Cassian Andor show. So starting off, we're going to be taking a look at one of the largest sets released for LEGO Star Wars this year. This is the Justifier. So the Justifier is based off of the Bad Batch, and despite it being a very obscure ship that honestly doesn't have a lot of screen time, they dedicated a massive $170 set for the exact ship. Now the price per part ratio is 16 cents, making this honestly not really great value, but I do really hope that the set does sell well and succeeds because, again, they're making a very obscure ship that looks like it came right out of the expanded universe, and I really do hope that LEGO will not take this set potentially not doing well as a sign not to make more sets like it. The set is really interesting because it has a massive back engine that once you activate the engine into flight mode, the landing gear will automatically retract, which is very cool to see. We have our first ever figure of Omega featured from the Bad Batch for the very first time in great detail, featuring a brand new recolor of the Harry Potter hairpiece as well as printing on the sides of the arms. Also included in the set for the first time ever is the Cad Bane from the Bad Batch minifigure. We haven't had a Cad Bane figure for years and years, ever since the Clone Wars was coming out, so it is really awesome to see this figure included, especially with a brand new rebreather piece, a hat, and of course his faithful droid companion Toto 360, who also appears for the first time as a little mini sculpturette. The set does also include Hunter as well as Fennec Shand, although they are just returning minifigures from previous iterations of the characters, and for $170, having only 4 figures, to be honest, is not really too great to me. I honestly think they really should have just included the rest of the Bad Batch at that price, especially because otherwise you have to get their shuttle to get them. Now, that being said, despite this being somewhat overpriced, it is a very cool set, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it because this is such a unique LEGO model. Moving onwards, we have something on the completely other end of the spectrum. This is set number 75332 ATST, and yes, this is a 4+ set. It retails for $30 US, and much like many of the other 4+ mechs and builds, they're just using the Ninjago style of mech walker legs, as well as made a brand new mold for the headpiece just to make it easier for kids to put together. Honestly, this is probably one of the best 4+ Star Wars sets we've gotten in a long time. It includes Wicket, a Scout Trooper, and a brand new ATST pilot who is returning from the Hoth ATST with the brand new headpiece. And yeah, I don't really have any complaints about this. Obviously, it is meant to be a 4+ set, but it kind of looks pretty good. And I really like how this feels like a vintage Star Wars set, kind of like something that would have come out like the original ATST back in 1999. Moving onwards from that, we have the highly anticipated set number 75337, ATTE Walker. Now this is actually supposed to be representing a scene from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, despite it somewhat being a celebration of Attack of the Clones as well. And now, what's very exciting about the set is that after a lot of fan outcry and demands, we are finally getting a Phase 2 version of Commander Cody. And to top that, LEGO has actually remolded all of the Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmets to actually have holes on the sides of the head to allow them to be compatible with these special visor packs, meaning that now you can create a lot more different clones if they just want to recolor pieces. I think that's a really smart solution to not have to introduce crazy new molds every time a new clone trooper is introduced. Now they can just use the helmet piece and the existing add-on piece to create a whole host of specialized clones with visors and helmets and antennae and whatnot and rangefinders. I think this is a really great step forwards, and I can't wait to see what other clones they make with this system. Also included are 3 members of the 212th Legion, as well as a brand new ATTE driver, who is very similar to the other driver that we got actually very recently, but of course he does have the brand new helmet, plus 3 battle droids and a spider droid to boot. Now, it has been quite a while since we last got a traditional ATTE, the last time was in 2013, and of course we did get a specialized version for Rebels, but that was back in 2015, so it has been a long time since we've gotten an ATTE in general, and while the set does feel a little steep for 140, it's at least priced a little bit better because it does seem to have a lot of interior space, in fact a lot more than we are used to. You can notice that in certain images it can hold up to 5 or 6 clones in just the back, and they actually have specialized seats for them, so you could probably cram in a lot more than just 5, and it does look to be one of the best versions of the ATTE they have made to date. I can't wait to get my hands on this because I love everything from the prequel era. It is probably one of my favorite Star Wars eras because it is the one that I personally grew up with, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the brand new Phase 2 Commander Cody. From there, we have a couple of sets that actually were available for pre-order as early as the end of May of this year, but are officially releasing on August 1st, so of course they fit on this list. Set number 75336 is the Inquisitor Transport Scythe from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. This is basically the flagship vessel the Inquisitors use throughout the duration of the Kenobi TV show, and it actually is priced really well. For nearly 1,000 pieces, it is $100 US, so that is a pretty great value given how large the set looks. It includes a new version of Obi-Wan for the show, as well as 3 of the Inquisitors, the Grand Inquisitor, Reva, and the 5th brother, who is returning from Star Wars Rebels for the first time in many years. So amazing to get that. They all have specialized armor and helmet molds, some of which return from Rebels, some of which have been made for this set in particular, and it is really cool that we get all 3 of pretty much the main Inquisitors featured in the show in one single set. I think this is one of the best Star Wars sets released this year. It seems like really good value, and the shaping of the set is very unique and special. It just looks like a really intimidating, fun vessel to build, and I can't wait to actually add this to my collection and hang it from my ceiling. It features a very cool brand new transparent red windscreen, as well as a really unique building technique for the large mandibles on the front of the craft. This is just a really cool ship in general, and I love how you can actually have the minifigures walk out of the front like the boarding ramp as seen in the show itself. Moving onwards from that, we have another Attack of the Clones set. This is set number 75333, Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter, retailing for $30 US, featuring a Kaminoan minifigure for the first time, as well as the Episode 2 variant of Obi-Wan Kenobi, as we saw in the Star Wars Skywalker Saga video game, plus his trusty droid companion, R4. Now, we have gotten Jedi Interceptors in the past recently, or Jedi Starfighters in the past, although this one I think tends to capture the shaping fairly well. It does feel a little bit bulky on the top, especially looking at it front on. I do think that it could have been a little bit slimmer in terms of the way it is built, but they actually had to build it that way to accommodate the droid body being placed inside of the ship, which is actually a pretty unique feature that not every single Interceptor has. I do like the usage of some of the slightly newer pieces introduced for the Rise of Skywalker wave, with the very dagger-shaped, large triangular pieces being used heavily throughout the ship. I think that's a great usage of the piece itself, but overall, it personally, I feel, could have been just a little bit slimmer to capture the sleek aesthetic of the Jedi Interceptors. But that's just my opinion. And for $30, the pricing is pretty perfect on this one, no real complaints here. Moving back to the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, we have a set that honestly has kind of become a meme in the community. This is set number 75334, Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader. It has 408 pieces for $50, and it is currently available for pre-order. Yeah, they never really sold out of those pre-orders, at least the time I'm recording this video. It's been available for over a month now, and yeah, so this is kind of a strange set. $50, you get a large gray plate. And yeah, to be honest, I don't really know how LEGO could have made this set better. To give credit to the designers, essentially the way that making Star Wars sets works is that designers are told to make a certain scene at a certain price point, and basically that directive comes from either LEGO or Lucasfilm, and clearly someone told LEGO designers to make a $50 set based off of the scene where Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader fight for the first time in the TV show, and yeah, I don't really know how they could have made something a little bit more interesting than this. Maybe they could have deviated from the scene itself and, I don't know, made the laser checkpoint or the truck transport, but really, if you want to capture the exact scene, this is probably the best you're going to get. So it feels very awkward as a $50 set. LEGO has been making fantastic dual sets over the past few years that have come in at $20, so I don't really know why they couldn't have just done it like that, but as it is right now, this is basically one of those small $15 to $20 dual sets, but just sized up for $50. Thankfully, we do have two new minifigures in the Tala figure as well as the Ned B droid figure with a brand new mold. That is a really great figure. I expect the prices on Bricklink for that to not be very kind because people will just get that off of Bricklink and not get the set itself. It does have a new version of Obi-Wan as well as the printed arms version of Darth Vader, but yeah, let's be honest, this is not one of the better Star Wars sets, and honestly will probably go down in infamy like the First Order AT-ST. It has some fun play features with the lava erupting from the ground. It just absolutely did not need to be $50. And the box art literally putting it against the seemingly stock image backdrop of a rock is pretty funny as well and doesn't really do it any favors. Moving on from that, we have actually a very exciting set. This is set number 75335, BD1, retailing for $100. This is our first official Jedi Fallen Order set. Now, what is very special about the set is that in an early interview published a couple of years ago, LEGO designers specifically stated that they could not make material or LEGO sets off of the Fallen Order video game, or Harry Potter Deathly Hallows for that matter, because of the adult subject material featured in them. Well, this year we have gotten sets from both, so I'm very glad that LEGO has reversed their policy on it, because BD1 is a model that a lot of people have been clamoring for LEGO to make ever since the game came out. It's pretty much perfect timing because they just announced the sequel to the game, which was a really fun game. I can't wait to play that myself, and this seems to be one of the best interpretations of the droid that we've gotten in brick-built form to date. Sure, you can probably see some mocks on Rebrickable and whatnot that look a little bit better than this, but in order to make a sturdy and stable LEGO set, you do need to actually factor a lot of stability features in, and I think this is probably the best they could have gotten for a LEGO set based off of the game. Now LEGO, it's on you to give us a Cal minifigure as well as a Manta set. Now that you've made this, a lot of us are waiting, and honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if they did it for the brand new game coming out, so I cannot wait for that. This is an incredibly faithful set based on one of the most beloved Star Wars games of the past year, so it is really fun to get it as an official LEGO set. And moving onwards from that, we have set number 75338, Ambush on Ferrix. This is a new set from the Cassian Andor TV show. Again, all of these were available or currently are available for pre-order. It retails for $70 and features a gunship-like vehicle that we saw in the early trailer for the Andor show. At the time of this recording, the show has not come out, so I don't really know what the context is behind this set, but from initial images, it seems fairly accurate to what we saw in the trailers. It's kind of a funny look looking design. It kind of just looks like a cross between the gunship as well as a small landing pod, so not really sure what the design exactly is supposed to be here, but it is a decent enough set. It certainly does depict a unique vehicle that we haven't seen before, which is something I really do appreciate from Star Wars when they do stuff that isn't just X-Wings and TIE Fighters and whatnot. Getting something unique is nice to get, and it does come with 3 brand new and exclusive figures for the show itself. Now, I'm not sure if this will be the only set we get from the Andor show, or maybe if the show is popular enough we may get more, but so far this is the only one, so we'll see if this is actually important whatsoever in the show itself. As it is right now, $70 feels a little bit high for what you get here, but again, it is Star Wars, we've come to expect that. But with that, we have wrapped up the currently revealed Star Wars releases for August 1st. Now, of course, I am recording this video a little bit early, so there may be a couple things that haven't yet to be revealed, but I'll make an update to that in case we have to. But as of right now, that is all the Star Wars sets, and we can now move on to LEGO Technic. So, for 2022, August 1st, LEGO Technic is only releasing a couple of sets because we had a massive burst of Technic at the beginning of the year, as well as another major flagship set that released on June 1st in pretty much every region, and so they're kind of taking it easy for the sets releasing for Technic this time, and just giving us a couple of specialized smaller sets. First off, we have set number 42144. This is the Material Handler. Now, very shockingly, the set has a pretty awful retail price, to be completely honest. The Material Handler retails for 150 US dollars, 104 British pounds, and 120 euros. For a set that probably looks like it would have been around, I don't know, 60, 70, maybe $80 if we're pushing it, but 150, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous for the set. I don't know if this is because of the price hikes, but yeah, to be honest, I don't even know if I'm going to be picking this one up. While I am trying to collect a lot of the recent Technic sets, this just feels really overpriced to me. It's a nice set, just a shame that it is so overpriced. Thankfully, the next set, set number 42145, the Airbus H175 rescue helicopter, is $210, 210 euros, and 180 pounds. Unfortunately, this set is guaranteed a victim of the price increase because when it was first leaked, it was only around $180. Now it's $210, but honestly, it's not too bad. It's been a while since we've gotten a large-scale LEGO Technic helicopter, which I think is definitely a vehicle that is a little bit underutilized in Technic's offerings. We always get motorcycles and cars, but helicopters usually take a couple of years, if that, so it is nice to get a brand new helicopter. Those rotor blades look very large. I cannot wait to see it moving in action, and this just looks like a fun set that I absolutely will be picking up. But that is basically it for LEGO Technic, just these 2 sets, and we can now move on to the next theme. So the next theme up is LEGO Minecraft. Minecraft had a ton of releases on June 1st, so we're just getting a couple of extra sets here. Kind of odd that we're just getting these straggler sets on August 1st, but always good to have a staggered release of stuff and get some new releases, so I'm definitely not complaining here. Going off of Brickheadz, there is one more set that is yet to be revealed for Minecraft, so we'll see if that's releasing later on this year. But first off, we have set number 21189, the Skeleton Dungeon, retailing for $35 US dollars or 30 euros. This has a simple feature where you can spawn these skeletons in. It is a slightly more deluxe version of some of the cave sets they've released in the past years because it does have that function, as well as a brand new player skin. It actually is a nice minor skin for the player, and I love that LEGO is actually including new skins in different Minecraft sets rather than just Steve and Alex, and they also include a special record or disc for the first time, which is a great print to get for Minecraft. We've been waiting on that for a while, so it is very nice to see that here. Being a spawner, the set includes 3 skeletons, one of which has enchanted armor and an enchanted bow, and for the rest of the model, it's fairly simple, although it is a lot more charming to me than some of the other cave sets because it is focused on the new update with the stalactites and stalagmites of the newer styles of caves, which is great to see LEGO really jumping on that new update very quickly. Now, the only complaint I have here is the price. I know I've been saying this a lot in the video, but for only around 364 pieces, $35 is a little steep, and this set feels like it was designed to be at the $30 or even $25 price point before the price increases. But what's really priced badly is the next set here, set number 21190, the Abandoned Village. For 422 pieces, the set retails for $50 US dollars. Yeah, that is not really great. I'm really not seeing the value here. Sure, it has the feature where you can rebuild the village, which is pretty cool, but it is just a house, so not really sure why the value is so poor on this set. It does have a special scarecrow as well as a zombie villager, actually a couple of zombie villagers, which are returning for the first time since the very large village set, which retailed for $200 back in 2016, so it's great to see them appearing in a slightly cheaper set. We have another brand new player skin as well as just some broken down bits and pieces of the village, but yeah, to be honest, in its current form, just really not feeling that $50 value. Of course, I am a LEGO Minecraft completionist, so I will be getting this set and probably reviewing it in a large mega review of all the 2022 Minecraft sets all at once, but yeah, it's honestly probably one of the worst valued sets of this year. Moving onwards from Minecraft though, we have just one more LEGO art set releasing for 2022 for August 1st. This is set number 31207, Floral Art, retailing for $80, which actually seems pretty fair for a slightly smaller mosaic like this. It comes with a ton of pieces, specifically 2,870. Of course, many of those pieces are just 1x1 studs, but it's really great because you can use those studs to make your own LEGO mosaics, which I definitely have been doing, and I think that it's cool that LEGO is branching out to different subjects for art pieces like this. I am curious how popular this will be with pretty much just pretty abstract depictions of random flowers here and there, but again, great to see LEGO doing more unique stuff with art. Now, I really do want to see LEGO make art mosaics of some of their other original themes, because imagine what a Ninjago mosaic would be from LEGO art. I am very curious to see where the theme goes from here, but for $80, not too bad. I probably will be picking up one or two, if not just for the pieces themselves. And moving onwards from that, we have LEGO Brickheadz. So far, we have set number 40542, FC Barcelona Go Brick Me. So the Go Brick Me concept returns from 2018, which essentially was a large pack where you can make a Brickheadz of yourself. Now this retails for $20, despite including 530 pieces, which is a fantastic deal in my opinion. Sure, it only comes with one Brickheadz, but it comes with the pieces to make many, many more, especially with custom stickers to either depict your favorite players or to depict yourself as a player. I just think this is a great concept for a set, and I'm really happy that the value is really great because it's a really fun set to play around with. It allows for creativity and people to build their own hairstyles and skin tones and whatnot, so I think it's a great set to have overall. Moving on from set number 40542, that was the Go Brick Me FC Barcelona set. In addition to the FC Barcelona Go Brick Me set, they have an equivalent set releasing for the Man U team. This is specifically basically the same exact parts pack included, except for a different sports team, so you can choose which team you decide to support. Again, do like the concept of these. The price of $20 seems fair given the amount of pieces included and the fact that you can rebuild the character for different skin tones and hairstyles, but it definitely is not one of the more interesting Brickheadz if you do not follow sports. We have a couple more Brickheadz releases for this year. Set number 40547 is a $20 2-pack for Brickheadz centered around the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, featuring, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi himself and Darth Vader. This is the second time we have gotten the formidable Sith Lord in LEGO Brickheadz form. First time was around 2018, but it definitely has been quite significantly improved, featuring some of the red in the visor itself, and having the eyes not be too cartoonish with just plain circles, but this is the first time we are getting Obi-Wan Kenobi in Brickheadz form, which features some of the most detailed robes we've seen for a Brickheadz figure to date. I also love how in one of the promotional videos, Obi-Wan Kenobi clearly has the high ground over Vader. Moving onwards from that, we have a couple of LEGO Brickheadz pet sets. These are a continuation of the pet sub-theme, which isn't definitely one of my favorite sub-themes of Brickheadz. I think they definitely have been kind of overdoing it to date. They've released so many of these, but 40545, the koi fish for $15 is absolutely one of my favorites, because the koi fish are just so adorable in Brickheadz forms, and I actually like how they actually included some different prints for the sides of the bricks themselves, and some transparent flippers for the fish too. The next set here are the Poodle set, 40546, featuring some traditional dog style of builds. The only thing that really stands out to me here is the building technique used for the larger Poodle snout, which I think is quite good, but otherwise they're very similar to many of the other dog builds we have gotten to date. But with that, we can now move on from the only Brickheadz set and talk very briefly about the 3 new LEGO Dots sets releasing on August 1st. And for the first time, LEGO is actually making a partnership between Dots and Mickey and Friends by releasing Disney-themed Dot sets, which does feel like it is basically inevitable given LEGO's trajectory with the Dots partnerships, partnering with Levi's and Adidas and whatnot, but it is fun to get a Mickey Mouse-themed Dot set. I'm not a big collector of LEGO Dots, it's just personally not for me, although I do understand the appeal, but I may actually be picking up some of these sets just to get these small Disney Mickey style prints because of course those are always very useful in making, say, Disneyland style MOCs. And speaking of Disney, Disney Princesses has one more set releasing on August 1st, set number 43205. This is the Ultimate Adventure Castle. This is a really unique set because it combines a lot of different LEGO Disney princess figures and themes. It retails for $100 but combines the Little Mermaid, Moana, Rapunzel, Snow White, the list goes on. All sorts of different LEGO Disney princess sub-themes are actually featured in one massive set, which is really cool to see, and it's one of the first times ever they are doing massive crossover sets like this. We got a couple of crossover sets in the beginning of the year, but nothing really to this scale. And for $100, I probably will pick this up because I'm a sucker for LEGO castles, and I love how detailed the interior on this set is. And you can really see how much care and attention was made to essentially making little vignettes and little rooms for each of the main character princesses in this massive castle. I think it's a really fun concept to get. It's also really cool to get these brand new opalescent satin pink pieces, so that is cool to see topping the castle here, and I can't wait to actually have this in hand and see how good of a build it is. Moving on from that, we have Series 23 of the Collectible Minifigures. Now, unfortunately, this, of course, set number 71034, retailing for $5, was honestly a bit of a disappointment when it was first released. Rumors were swirling that this would be a 90th anniversary celebration series, which it kind of is. They actually did say it is supposed to celebrate 90 years of LEGO, but instead of making vintage callback minifigures like, say, making a new Castle King or even a Bionicle figure, LEGO decided to just make another costume series, which honestly is a little baffling to me because previously the last costume series we got in 2018 sold pretty poorly. It did not sell well whatsoever, and I don't really know why they're doing it again, so kind of odd that they're actually putting so much focus on this particular set, but again, it is a costume series, it does look really fun, and setting all of the expectations aside, I am actually a big fan of the way the figures turned out. I just wish they released this at any other time other than the 90th anniversary, because it was the perfect chance to actually give us 90th anniversary LEGO figures. The figures included, some of my favorites are the Boat Captain, because he actually is a callback to one of the classic LEGO tugboat sets. The Green Dragon is just literally a recolor from the previous costume series. They didn't even change that much. The printing seems to be identical. It's literally just a green recolor of the Red Dragon, but hey, good to get that in different colors. I love the way the little girl knight is made. She has the mid-legs in metallic silver, as well as a play horse and shield, calling back to the original yellow castle, so that is really fun, absolutely complements the much larger castle coming later on in this list. And of course, we have a cardboard robot as well, looks like a fun build, and a lot of winter themed sets, which is pretty interesting. 4 of the figures are winter themed, so kind of odd to have that. I don't know why they're doing that, releasing it so early, August 1st, but we have a snowman minifigure, which looks fantastic, the Nutcracker, and an elf, as well as a Christmas fairy, I guess, holding a candy corn. So kind of odd having such a strong focus on the winter stuff. But that being said, we do have a Thanksgiving focus as well, and I just realized we also have the reindeer, so that makes 5 Christmas-themed figures. Yeah, kind of an odd selection of costume characters here. But hey, you know, I guess LEGO has a plan for it. Maybe they're trying to tie it into holidays for the season, so I guess that sort of makes sense. But speaking of the 90th anniversary, there were a lot more interesting sets released for the 90th anniversary, some of the most anticipated sets of the year. Now, I did dedicate 2 specialized videos to these sets, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on them. You know them, and if you haven't seen them before, just go check out the videos linked in the description where I had my in-depth thoughts published on them. This is set number 10305, the Lion Knight's Castle. Yeah, so this is probably one of the most exciting sets of the year to me. I absolutely cannot wait to get my hands on it for $400. It's maybe a little steep, but you know what? It's a massive castle. I can't really complain. I can't wait to get this because it actually combines a lot of different sub-themes of classic castle, like the Forest Men and the Lion Knights, of course, and even some Fright Knights and Black Falcons. This is just such a cool set to me to get. But of course, this is not the only one, because LEGO is also releasing a massive $100 Galaxy Explorer set. This came as a surprise to me because I wasn't really expecting them to make multiple different versions of 90th anniversary sets, but it is truly fantastic to be able to get this in hand. I cannot wait to actually get this. I've already pre-ordered 2 of them because pre-orders are open, so it is incredibly exciting that LEGO is calling back to classic space to actually be able to get this set as a 2022 release. This is very, very exciting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to building and reviewing this pretty much on day one. My favorite thing about the set is the fact that you can actually rebuild it, and it does come with instructions to build it into the smaller craft as well as the medium-sized craft, as featured in the early lines of Classic Space. That is an amazing feature, and I'm so happy they included it. That's actually why I purchased 2, so I'll be able to actually build those different iterations of the vessel. Absolutely fantastic. Good on LEGO for doing this, and this is probably one of my most anticipated sets of the year. Set number 10497, calling back to the original set being set number 497. What a cool and fantastic set, and you can see all my thoughts on it in the detailed launch video in the description below. But with that, we can now move on to one of the last themes of the year, the last large themes, before we get to a couple of miscellaneous releases. This is LEGO Super Mario. So the gimmick for LEGO Super Mario this year is that for the first time they are introducing an electronic Peach figure, which kind of makes sense given that they've done Mario and Luigi. If they want to keep expanding on the system, this was the next logical step. So naturally, the first set here is set number 71403, Adventures with Peach, for $60. It comes with 354 pieces, but to be honest, it's not too bad because it is priced basically identically to Adventures with Mario and Luigi, which both were $60, had similar builds and piece counts, and really just centered around being able to obtain the next electronic figure. Now, as it is, the build is probably the least interesting of any of the newer Super Mario sets. Much like the other previous adventure sets, they don't really have too much going on with them course-wise. It's really just focusing on the electronic module, so we can just move on to the other stuff. Next up, set number 71404 is Goomba's Shoe for $10. This is an adorable shoe with a small Goomba figure with it. I think this is a really fun build, and it's kind of similar to the clown car which came out earlier this year, and I like that LEGO is making $10 Super Mario sets that are not the outfits which are stupidly overpriced. These at least have a lot of fun building stuff to them, and I can imagine playing with it in the game will be fun. Onwards from there, we have 71405, Fuzzy Flippers for $20. This is another core set featuring some of these spiky balls in the clouds. Forgive me because I am not a huge fan of Mario. I have not really played any Mario games, so I don't really know the names of anything, but I am collecting every single Super Mario set because I think it's just a fun concept to be able to play them in a board game-like fashion. The gimmick for the set seems to be able to bounce the Peach or Mario figures on top of the seesaws here, which cause the spiky balls to either go on one side or the other, so that's kind of a fun gimmick there, but very, very simple. Onwards from there, we have set number 71406 for $30. This is Yoshi's Gift House. It seems to be fairly light on functionality unless it's tucking away certain things on the back, but obviously is focused on a more location or peaceful-like setting with Yoshi having his house here. This is not the first time we've gotten a Yoshi house from LEGO Super Mario. We actually had some in the first wave where he actually had a more traditional style of house, but I guess this is supposed to depict a very specific location in the games. From there, 71407 is the Cat Peach suit and Frozen Tower. Very interesting how they are incorporating a separate suit for this particular tower here, but it seems like you need the suit to play with this Frozen Tower, so I guess that makes total sense. I actually do quite like the build on this one. I think it's cool with the white walls and the red roofs. It's just a fun set to have in general. The Cat Peach suit and Frozen Tower retails for $80, which isn't great, but I guess it makes sense given it does have a brand new mold for the suit and a fairly substantial tower to boot. From there, we are finally getting Princess Peach's castle in LEGO form. We did get a microscale version last year, but we're actually getting a full-on version of it, at least in the expansion set course range, for $130. This is 71408, and it does have the full-on Princess Peach's castle featuring a brand new mold for the rooftops of the castle itself. Very interesting to see that there, as well as a whole host of fun and colorful characters, making this one of the largest and most complex sets of the wave. But there's still more, because set number 71409 is Big Spike's Cloud Top Challenge. Kind of interesting how this is actually a smaller set than the previous one, but it specifically retails for $80 US, coming with the Big Spike figure being a large brick-built figure, reintroducing some of the curved panels from the NASA spaceship in green this time, as well as a Technic heavy build, which seems actually pretty interesting. And there's even more from there, because just recently revealed at the beginning of July, we actually have a set that is currently available for pre-order. It is 71412 Big Bad Island for $45 US. It has a very large build for the Yoshi-like figure, as well as large Goombas and a large enemy for Mario to fight. So it's an interesting set being featured around the island sub-theme, which was kind of a sub-theme that came out around March of 2022, so it's interesting seeing they are continuing making Mario Island sets, so it does feel a little bit out of place, but it's just one more of the buildable sets. And finally, we have set number 71410. This is Series 5 of the character packs. They actually have increased the price on these to $6 instead of $5, but with that comes much larger builds. I actually really appreciate how they're making much larger terrain pieces, and you also have much larger characters being included in this series. It's a good idea to include the larger characters here, because they probably had pretty much exhausted these smaller characters already. And lastly, for the LEGO gaming theme, while this isn't really related specifically to the Mario theme and more of the general LEGO gaming sphere, we have set number 10306, Atari 2600, coming with 2,532 pieces, retailing for $240 US. This is a direct one-to-one recreation of the original iconic Atari VCS 2600 game console, which includes a lot of really fun Easter eggs, including of course the game console itself, but also a controller, multiple little dioramas for the many iconic games, and a ton of special Easter eggs relating back to some of the classic LEGO themes. These are some of my favorite things about the set, where if you specifically look inside the room of the boy playing the games, you can see a Johnny Thunder from Adventurers poster, a classic space poster, even a poster heralding to the Collectible Minifig series. And especially if you look at the cartridges, we even have some nods to the classic LEGO Dragons, the Yellow Castle, the Galaxy Explorer, all sorts of really fun Easter eggs, which make total sense because, again, it is the 90th anniversary of LEGO, so it totally makes sense it would actually try to include some Easter eggs even in a licensed set like this. While obviously the Atari was a little before my time personally, I've seen a lot of love for it online. It looks like a lot of fans are big fans of exactly how it came together and just how authentic it is to the original game console. And this is definitely something I'll be picking up because it's such a good LEGO iconic model, and I love it when LEGO makes life-size versions of actual real-world things. It's really cool that they're doing this, and I hope they keep it up. But with that, we have summed up all of the LEGO gaming related sets releasing this August 1st, and we can now move on to one of the most anticipated sets of the year. This is Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. Set number 76218, retailing for $250, it comes with 2,708 pieces, and this is, interestingly enough, a crossover set between Avengers Infinity War as well as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This was a massive modular building set revealed during LegoCon, which actually just aired in June. It is great that LEGO is making a full-on modular building for such an iconic building from the Marvel Universe. I love how detailed the interior is, and probably my favorite feature from the set is the ability to swap portals back and forth. I will likely be doing a full review on this set when it actually comes out later this year, so I will not spend too much time talking about it right now. You can see the minifigure selection is honestly just okay. It comes with a new version of Ebony Maw without leg printing, but slightly more accurate to the movie, a new version of Iron Man Mark 50 with the new Iron Man helmet, another new version of the Homecoming Spider-Man suit, which I don't necessarily know needed an upgrade. I would have definitely preferred getting a new version of the Iron Spider suit, because that one, for whatever reason, did not have dual molded legs. Would have really loved to get that, but instead we get updated printing for the Homecoming suit, which is more accurate. We also get a new version of Wong from Infinity War, so a slightly different version than we got in the character pack. We get the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness version of Scarlet Witch. Great to have the actual printed crown here compared to the collectible minifigure, although the plain legs and lack of a waist cape is a little disappointing. We have the Sinister Strange figure with a third eye, Master Mordo figure from the alternate universe, Dead Strange, which is the version of Strange that he possessed, and of course a standard version of Doctor Strange himself, who returns from the Multiverse of Madness sets. And of course, this has a fully detailed interior with swappable portals and transition gates. It's just really authentic to the original depiction in the MCU, and this is probably gonna be the best Marvel set this year. Can't wait to do my review on this, so we can now move on to the next sets. And lastly, there's just a couple of Speed Champion sets from the mainline themes. It is very, very interesting that we are finally getting licensed Speed Champions cars based on popular films. Boy, is it about time, but for the first time ever, we are getting a James Bond minifigure. Yeah, it's kind of a shock. Set number 76911. This is James Bond's Aston Martin DB5. It's basically the same price as all the other Speed Champions single cars, but it is absolutely fantastic we are getting this as an official LEGO set. Completely shocking. I would not have expected LEGO to have actually made a minifigure scale James Bond set, but yeah, this honestly looks better than the actual large-scale creator expert Aston Martin, so awesome to see that here. This is probably one of my more anticipated sets of August. And we also are getting a set for Fast and Furious, set number 76912, Dom's Dodge Charger. Following up on the LEGO Technic version of the set, we are getting the family minifigure in a set for the first time, as well as a minifigure scale version of the Dodge Charger, which is pretty much the best we've ever seen it. All I can say about these is it's about dang time. Now, LEGO, do the DeLorean in the style, the Batmobiles here, the Mystery Machine, Kit, Lola, Ghost Rider's car. Come on, now the gates have been opened, you can do pretty much anything with Speed Champions now, so please give us more movie cars. I will be first in line to get them. And finally, to wrap up the list of sets that are releasing for the first time in August, what's incredibly strange to me is for $37, we are getting a LEGO store set. This set is revealed just mere months after the original LEGO 2022 LEGO store set was revealed, actually for LEGO store grand openings, but for whatever reason, this is strangely available for retail purchase on Shop at Home for pretty much anyone to buy for the odd price of $37. Not really sure what's going on over there. But it's really cool to actually get a modern LEGO store being depicted in this style. We have some micro-scale builds of a train and what looks to be something like the Disney Castle or maybe the Royal Knights Castle. We also have a lot of references to other LEGO sets featured on the boxes of the walls, as well as Pick-a-Brick and a Build-A-Minifig station. Pretty much everything that you would expect to see from a LEGO store is here, and this is probably the best version of a LEGO store we have ever gotten. Next up, we have set number 40570, Halloween Cat and Mouse. Similarly to other large-scale animal builds we've gotten this year, this is specifically the Halloween one, and it does tease some other seasonal sets on the back of the box. And finally, we have a couple of postcard sets. So brand new for August 1st is set number 40568, the Paris postcard, which is great to have a very nice vignette style build for the postcard for Paris. Now, interestingly enough, we also have set number 40519 New York postcard, as well as set number 40520 Beijing postcard. Now, if these look familiar, that's because these were supposed to be released on January 1st of this year, before they were pulled from shop.lego.com for pretty much no apparent reason. Although the main difference between the original sets and the new one is that the Beijing postcard has been remade without the 5-star red flag of China. I don't really know why they did this. Brickheadz said that maybe this is because the usage of the flag in a set violates the national flag law, which states that the national flag of China and its patterns cannot be used as trademarks, patented designs, or commercial advertisements. So potentially LEGO got in a little bit of trouble for including the flag here. That's a little bit funny that they had to pull the entire set for it. But yeah, now these sets are releasing without the flags on them. So a bit of a shame we are no longer getting the flags, but the builds are pretty much identical otherwise, so it's not that big of a deal. Just funny how LEGO had to pull it very last minute because of this one detail. Continuing along with what used to be the Creator Expert series and now is the LEGO Icons vehicle collection, we have set number 10304 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. It has 1,458 pieces and retails for around $150 US. Now, this is particularly interesting because they actually include quite a few different pieces to transform the look and feel of the car for different paint jobs. You can have red stripes going along the front and sides of it, white stripes, or gray stripes, and I actually really appreciate the inclusion of these rather large pieces just to customize the car however you want. Sure, it may make it a little bit more difficult to display depending on whether you want it to be a convertible or actually have a rooftop or have different stripes and whatnot, but I do appreciate the amount of variability that you can get out of just this one set. This is yet another expert level build from the creator team. After the VW Beetle 2 version, which was a little bit funky in terms of how it was built, didn't really come together all too well, this seems to be a great return to form. It looks absolutely fantastic. I love the amount of detail and the shaping on the car, and interestingly enough, it looks like LEGO's main focus for a lot of these Icon's creator vehicles is to continue making iconic American muscle cars, which they've done a few times already, and this is just continuing the trend. I certainly can't wait to pick this up because I absolutely want to display this alongside all of the other creator cars. It's just really cool to see this being added to the car portfolio. Moving onwards to some other random sets, we have set number 40521, Mini Disney The Haunted Mansion. Now this is really cool because previously you may recall we actually got a Mini Disney Castle around August 1st of last year featuring a special Mickey figure, and now we're actually getting a similar set along the same vein for the Haunted Mansion. I certainly hope that sets like this will continue along LEGO's portfolio. It's cool we're actually getting exclusive figures. This one actually has a waist cape, so if you can do it for this one, why didn't you do it for Scarlet Witch LEGO? But yeah, he does have a fully detailed figure with waist cape as well as a mini version of the Haunted Mansion itself. Now, unfortunately, the mansion retails for 35 euros or 40 US dollars, where 40 seems really high for me, especially compared to the Disney Castle, which came out last year and was only around $35. So 40 is kind of pushing it, but it does come with a nice exclusive figure and a pretty nice and authentic build of the Haunted Mansion, so I certainly am quite excited for this set in particular. But with that, we have summed up every single one of the brand new August 1st LEGO sets that are releasing on the 1st of the month across every single region. But of course, in the US, there's a lot more sets releasing because the US unfortunately was delayed on a ton of sets released on June 1st everywhere else, as per usual, which includes themes like LEGO Ninjago, LEGO Monkie Kid, Marvel, LEGO Disney Mickey and Friends, Architecture, Creator, City, even LEGO Art, and so on. There's lots and lots of sets that did come out on June 1st pretty much everywhere but here, so it is now time to cover those in this video. Now, if you do live anywhere other than the US, this is kind of old news for you. I actually have put out reviews on a lot of these sets already. You can check those out in the links below because I was in Europe when these came out, so I already did review most of them. But in case these are all new to you, I'll be covering them very briefly right now. And for the first theme up, we have LEGO Ninjago. Now, I've actually put out two massive mega reviews on all of the newest Ninjago crystallized sets, first focusing on the minifigures and then focusing on the sets themselves. So do check those out in the description below if you want to see my detailed thoughts on every single set. But just in case, I will give my brief thoughts now, starting off with one of the junior sets. This is actually focused on the core line, so it's not actually one of the crystallized sets. 71759 is the Ninja Dragon Temple featuring a fusion water and fire dragon, which is kind of cool. Not really seen that since Hands of Time. And this retails for $40, which is kind of high for a junior set, but is expected because we have gotten $40 junior sets in the past like this. I like that they're getting a brand new dragon for Kai and Nia, but this is a pretty basic set. Honestly, not really anything super special. It's just a very, very simple temple build for the juniors line of LEGO Ninjago. Moving on from that, we can now take a look at Crystallized. So Ninjago Crystallized is the mainline sets, kind of summing up the conclusion of this era of Ninjago, making these incredibly exciting. Now, just some early thoughts on these sets themselves. I appreciate how LEGO is really being smart about how they included figures in these sets. Every single one of these sets has at least one exclusive minifigure, and they actually have made the figure distribution very even. You have one copy of all of the standard ninja suits, two copies of all the gold ninja suits, one copy of all the dragon suits, and then we have a ton of other figures here and there with a ton of Vengestone brutes and warriors, as well as 3 copies of the Crystal King, all of her generals, as well as some of the side characters themselves. Starting off, we have set number 71768 for $20. It's Jay's Golden Dragon motorbike, featuring a truly deluxe version of Jay with transparent yellow arms and legs, and a great golden dragon themed motorbike to boot. From there, we have the next set, 71769, Cole's Dragon Cruiser. It features the dragon version of Kai, Asphira, as well as Golden Cole and a Vengestone warrior. Now, I actually think that this set is honestly not one of the better sets of the wave. If you do check out the review, I found it to be fairly simple and really not anything special compared to some of the other Cole vehicles we actually have gotten in the past. It's nice that every single one of the original Ninja is getting a vehicle in this wave, but this is honestly one of the weaker ones for me. It just doesn't really have that many fun functions, and the blade swinging down function is just not that interesting of a function for me personally. Still, again, nice that Cole is getting a vehicle of his own, and for $45 the value is not too bad. Moving onwards, we have Zane's Golden Dragon Jet, $30 for 71770. This is featuring the dragon version of Cole with transparent orange limbs, as well as the Skull Sorcerer, King Vangelis, and the golden version of Zane. This actually has a pretty fun transformation feature to cause the wings to fold out like a massive ninja star. Now, it also does feel like this is very similar to some of the other jets we've gotten in the past, namely Jay's Stormfighter jet and whatnot, but it is nice to actually get this as its own build as well for Zane. From there, we have 71771, the Crystal King Temple. For $70, we have a small little tensegrity structure with the cage and a large floating crystal sculpture for the Crystal King. This, to me, in my review, was one of the weaker sets of the wave. I just wasn't really too impressed by it, especially compared to some of the other temple sets we've gotten, both from Ninjago and as well from Monkie Kid in the past. It is a very fun concept that I feel just was a little bit too bare bones for the set and could have been beefed up just a little bit more to make it worth the money. Still, it is nice to get 4 exclusive figures of the set, being the standard versions of the core ninja costumes. That is really great to see here, and it does include all the golden weapons on pedestals as well, which is a nice touch. From there, we have the massive Crystal King himself, 71772. This is the Crystal King for $60. It is a large centaur-like build for the Crystal King himself, featuring a really fun build for the head and helmet, and some wings on the back. Unfortunately, the front legs do not move, which was my biggest complaint with the set. It feels more like a statue than something you can actually play with. It seems like a very menacing design in the show itself, but the set kind of falls short. From there, we have set number 71773, Kai's Golden Dragon Raider for $110 US, probably the most overpriced set of the wave. It is a very beefy and large looking Kai vehicle, which is really fun to see. It does come with Skylar returning for the first time, as well as probably my favorite version of the Dragon Ninja, the Zane one with transparent blue limbs, and Mr. F, the General, and 3 other warriors, and Golden Kai. But as it is right now, 110 feels a little bit high for the price itself. It does have a fairly interesting feature where the wheels splay outwards, making it impossible to drive, but also making the set break in place when it actually features like that to maybe, I guess, form into a turret-like mode. Kind of an odd detailing like that, but not really advertised too much on the box art. I'm curious to see how this appears in the show itself in its powered up form, but as it is right now, a very unique Ninjago vehicle, just a little bit overpriced. Moving onwards, for $140, we have Lloyd's Golden Ultra Dragon set 71774. It is a massive 4-headed dragon for Lloyd, calling back to the Ultra Dragons of years past, with a really fun wing flapping mechanism and an all-gold, pearl gold body, featuring Oni versions of Lloyd, which is very interesting. This is probably one of the better Ninjago dragons we have ever gotten. I was a little bit harsh on it in my review, but especially looking back on it compared to some of the other dragons, I think it's pretty neat. I just think that it could have definitely been improved in the head builds, which is a bit of a step back compared to the Lloyd's Legendary Dragon, which came out earlier this year, which featured a much better build for the head itself. And finally, from there, we have the last Ninjago crystallized set. This is Nia's Samurai X Mech. It is set number 71775, retailing for $120 US, which is a pretty decent price for one of the largest Ninjago mechs we have ever gotten. It includes a host of exclusive LEGO minifigures, as well as the massive samurai mech that we've already seen in the show itself. I think that it has a pretty interesting color scheme. It feels a little bit chaotic to me, but I do actually like how the colors come together, and of course the set does feature knees, which is fantastic. Probably one of the better crystallized sets of this wave. But with that, we have summed up our look at the Ninjago sets, and it's now time to move on to the next theme. And for a completely different focus, we have the LEGO Disney Mickey and Friends theme. Now, of course you saw earlier in the video the collaboration between LEGO Dots and Mickey and Friends, but these are the regular mainline Mickey sets that are basically a continuation of the August 2021 sets we got just last year. Starting off with set number 10777, this is Mickey and Minnie's Camping Trip, retailing for around $25, $5. Of course, all of these are 4+ sets, so they're fairly simple, but it has the RV camping van for Mickey and Minnie, 2 brand new outfits for the characters, although the torsos do appear to just be reuses from LEGO City, and of course the elusive Pluto dog figure, which thankfully appears in a much cheaper and smaller set than the previous one that he appeared in, which was the Fire Truck and Station last year for $40. It is really great that LEGO is continuing to introduce the Pluto mold in multiple sets, but if you do already own any of the Mickey and Friends sets from last year, this doesn't really bring anything new to the table. Moving onwards, we have set number 10778, Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy's Fairground Fun. Now this is another 4+ set that features a roller coaster and I guess what is supposed to be a Ferris wheel, retailing for around $30, so that does seem to be a pretty good price for this amount of stuff to get in the set. You have a teal roller coaster track piece, which returns from the LEGO Monkie Kid sets, but thankfully introduces the curved piece for that. You also have a large Mickey entranceway, as well as a nice working Ferris wheel, so all of this is just some nice fairground fun. Minnie has a brand new outfit with a cloth skirt element, which does reoccur from some of the older minifigures, although the jacket is all new. Goofy also appears in his standard outfit, which is a big relief, especially because previously the only way to get the standard Goofy minifigure was by buying the rather expensive $230 plus Disney Train and Station set. And of course, the set includes Mickey in a brand new outfit as well. But finally, there is one last Mickey and Friends set, set number 10780, Mickey and Friends Castle Defenders, retailing for $55. This is a castle-themed Mickey set, which is really cool. Awesome to see the Juniors 4+ castle molds actually being colored in gray, where previously they were colored in more fantastical colors for the LEGO Disney Princesses series. We have a brand new mold for Donald Duck as a jester, which is very fun to see, and also another brand new mold for Mickey's head wearing a knight's helmet. Of course, Minnie and Daisy Duck also have brand new medieval styled outfits, and while the dragon itself is very goofy looking and doesn't really look all too realistic, I do actually like the way the castle is set up, and this is easily my favorite Mickey and Friends sets because it does include a castle, which is definitely something that a lot of LEGO fans have been wanting to be featured in this series. Moving onwards from that though, we can take a look at our next theme. For LEGO Architecture, we only have one set releasing for August of this year, and that is the Pyramid of Giza. Now, of course, much like all of the other sets on this list, the Pyramid of Giza has already been released on June 1st, pretty much everywhere else, but on August 1st, it will retail for $130. This is a really stunning set that captures one of the more ancient historical landmarks in a very interesting fashion because, as you can see, this is the first time LEGO Architecture is depicting a building from a particular time period. If you go to the pyramids today, the pyramids do not look like this with the white and gold exterior, where this is specifically supposed to represent the pyramid at a particular point in time. What's even cooler is that you can lift open the large pyramid canopy and you can actually see the pyramid being built and under construction, which is a really fantastic feature to get. Now, unfortunately, this is just half a pyramid, and you do need to buy 2 copies of the set to make the full pyramid, something that I probably will be doing, but it definitely will cost a lot to have the full pyramid on display. Still, that being said, I think $130 is a quite good deal for a set like this. Of course, the interior construction of the pyramid did take up a lot of bricks that ultimately aren't going to be shown when you show off the set, but I think it definitely was worth it because it is a really fun play feature to have for the architecture set in general. Moving onwards, we only have one other set for LEGO Marvel. Now this is for the LEGO Marvel Infinity Saga series, specifically focusing on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is set number 76217, I Am Groot, retailing for around $55, but only around 45 to 40 euros in Europe. This is a large 1-to-1 replica scale model of the baby Groot figure from Guardians of the Galaxy. And wow, is this an adorable figure. This is somewhat in the same vein as the Iron Man figure, which released earlier this year, and the rumored Spider-Man figures, which will be releasing later this year, but it definitely is a little bit more cartoonish and absolutely to scale with what you'd expect to see from the baby Groot figure from the movies. I really do like how expressive the face is. You can really get him to look in different directions and tilt his head around. I actually have had the pleasure of building this set myself already because, again, as I mentioned, it already has been released, and it is actually quite poseable flexible for what it is. You can even get him standing on one leg, which is really fantastic to see for a buildable figure. He comes with a life-size cassette tape from Star-Lord, the Awesome Mix Volume 1 and 2, and all in all is just a really nice figure that you can get, albeit very overpriced in the US and a much better value pretty much everywhere else. Moving onwards from that, we can now take a look at one of the original LEGO themes for this year, and that is LEGO Monkie Kid. So I actually have had the chance to already review each and every one of the brand new LEGO Monkie Kid sets on this channel. You can take a look in the description below, so if you do want to check that out, do check out the reviews of all of these sets in depth. So I will just be kind of quickly summarizing my thoughts on these. Set number 80037 is $80 US, but only around 60 euros, so a massive discrepancy here. This is the Dragon of the East, featuring a tortoise-like teal dragon with specialized minifigures in diving outfits, the Dragon of the East minifigure representation, a small detachable submarine, a sub for Monkie Kid, and even a manta ray sub for the Macaque's evil minions. This is one of my favorite dragon themed sets LEGO has put out in recent history, honestly kind of outshines some of the recent LEGO Ninjago dragons, and while it is a very unique design like a tortoise-like shape, I definitely think the European price is very fair for this. 60 euros is absolutely fantastic for such a great build. I love the way it comes together and it feels very unique while also still very clearly being a dragon. The head sculpt is especially outstanding, but 80 in the US, man, that is not great. I would wait for a sale if possible. Moving onwards, we have set number 80038. This is Monkie Kid's team van. This is the main TEA vehicle the team used throughout the Season 3 events, and it comes with detachable cargo pods, keeping up with the aesthetic of the Monkie Kid headquarters, much like the drone copter and the large boat that they used in the first season. It does include a lot of Easter eggs and references to the TV show itself within the pods, and of course the van can be fully opened up and stores the entire team. On the villain side, you have an evil tuk-tuk vehicle for the Macaque's monkey minions, which is very funny to see. The price for this is 100 euros, which is very fair, and 130 US, which is less fair. So again, if you're trying to pick this up, you're very lucky if you live in Europe because you're actually getting quite a good deal on this, but in the US, $130 is not fantastic. And finally, moving onwards, we have set number 80039, the Heavenly Realms. Retailing for 170 euros or $180, it comes with 2,433 pieces and depicts a classic scene from the Monkey King legend, having little to do with the Monkie Kid TV show whatsoever. This is probably one of the most gorgeous display sets LEGO has ever made for pretty much any of their original themes, depicting a grandiose temple in the clouds with a bit of a transformation feature. You can push the central gate inwards to have the large scenes ripple outwards. The clouds will part to reveal the temple itself, revealing one of the most detailed and ornate LEGO playsets they have ever made. The set also includes a host of mostly exclusive LEGO minifigures, which is fantastic to see included in the set like this, and all in all, this is probably one of the best Monkie Kid sets ever made. And again, for $180 in the US, this is actually a pretty good price. Sure, I would have liked for it to be maybe 150 or 60, but 180 for a set as gorgeous as this absolutely feels like good value to me. But with that, we can now move on from the LEGO Monkie Kid theme and take a look at our next theme, LEGO Creator 3-in-1. So Creator 3-in-1 has one of the most anticipated sets of this year, as well as a host of some other sets that complement the line, offering a very strong showing for the summer selection of 2022. Starting off, we have set number 31130, Sunken Treasure Mission. This retails for $35 US, but only around 25 euros, so that's almost a $10 decrease in price, and it comes with a fantastic brick-built octopus which looks really great, a submersible vehicle, and a recolor of the new classic space helmet in dark gray, which will definitely prove to be very, very useful going forwards. Now this is just a really charming set. Of course you can rebuild it into multiple different animals like a lobster and a manta ray, but the star of the show is that fantastic octopus. LEGO is kind of hit or miss when they're depicting squids and octopi in brick-built form. Of course, we have gotten quite a lot of them thanks to the underwater LEGO themes, but oftentimes they do end up looking quite blocky. But for $35 or 25 euros, this achieves a really great look at a small price point, and it actually looks really realistic for what it is. So I really definitely appreciate the large build of the octopus. Obviously, it's very out of scale with the minifigure itself, but it does absolutely feel reminiscent of some of the LEGO diving and underwater themes, so I definitely will give it a pass on scale for that. The octopus is is definitely the build I will be making for the set in particular, and it easily is one of the most charming small-scale creator sets. Moving onwards, we have set number 31131. This is the Downtown Noodle Shop, continuing the line of smaller modular-like buildings. It retails for $45 and is yet another entry in this kind of style of LEGO modular creator buildings. I really like how much detail has been packed into a model as small as this. The Noodle Shop in particular is a setting that LEGO has not really focused on in previous sets beforehand, so it is cool to see that here. It also comes with some living space, a bike repair shop as an alternate build, and all sorts of different features packed into the building itself, and so I definitely will be picking this up because I am collecting all of the different styles of creators' small-scale modulars, much like this particular set. For $45, it's not fantastic value. We've seen better buildings before, but it's not too bad either. And now for the set everyone has been waiting for LEGO Creator, we have set number 31132, Viking Ship and the Midgard Serpent. This is a direct reference to the LEGO Viking set, the Viking Ship versus the Midgard Serpent, all the way back in 2006. It retails for $120 and features a host of exclusive minifigures, including a brand new exclusive helmet mold for one of the minifigures themselves, and a ton of alternate builds which actually look really great for what they are. Of course, the star of the show is this massive brick-built Viking ship, much like the Creator 3-in-1 pirate ship we got a couple of years ago and the Creator Castle we got just last year. This is celebrating an original LEGO theme in revamped modern form for Creator 3-in-1, which is really fantastic to see. I love the side build of the Fenris Wolf as well, again another reference to that original LEGO Viking theme, and all in all, this is probably my favorite Creator set of the year, at least the favorite Creator 3-in-1 set. I am so glad LEGO is making more Viking stuff, and I certainly hope this means we may be getting a nice larger scale, more adult-oriented Viking set in the future, much like how we got Pirates of Barracuda Bay, as well as the Medieval Blacksmith in the years that we got the pirate ship and Medieval Castle itself. Moving onwards from that, we can now take a look at LEGO Art. So LEGO Art is just getting one other set for the release cycle for this year that is coming out on August 1st in the US, but already has been released pretty much everywhere else. This is set number 31206, The Rolling Stones. So it depicts the large-scale Rolling Stones logo in a LEGO Art set that is unlike any other art set we have gotten to date. For $150, we have a very non-traditional large build for the sculpture, and I really appreciate how LEGO Art is branching off from traditional mosaics and actually giving us something completely brand new and unique. I really appreciate how much detail went into the build of this model in particular. It looks really interesting, and actually, as you can see while the construction of the model, there's a lot of Easter eggs, so you can actually lay down different studs to represent 60 years of the band, which is a cool addition, although it is of course covered up eventually once you put all the plates on in the end. It is a very interesting LEGO Art set, and I'm very curious to see how well the set performs, because that could mean we could be getting more large-scale logo-like stuff from LEGO Art in the future. Imagine a large Avengers logo for the next Avengers film or something like that. I think that would be really cool. And for $150, something this large feels about right to me. But moving on from that, we have one of the last themes of this entire review, LEGO City. So LEGO City, of course, released all of their new sets on June 1st everywhere else, but a few sets were held back on August 1st for the US, and those are the ones we're going to be looking at here, starting off with LEGO City Stunts. As you can see from this thumbnail, I already have published my mega review of the LEGO City Stunts 2022 August 1st releases. You can actually check that out in the description below. I got those on June 1st in Europe. LEGO City Stunts is, as you can see, introducing a brand new loop element, as well as introducing a ton of brand new bikes, all sorts of fun stuff for the Stunts expansion, as well as a few more other city sets as well. So starting off with these sets themselves, I want to quickly go over the individual motorcycles to begin with. So first of all, we have a couple of motorcycles that are retailing for $8 US. 60331, the touring stunt bike, featuring a brand new bike mold for the stunts theme, and the first time ever we are getting a bike like this in LEGO form, which is very neat to get, although definitely not one of the more interesting ones compared to the other two bikes. Next up we have 60332, the Reckless Scorpion stunt bike. It does feature one of the least interesting bikes that we've gotten for each of the individual bikes, but it makes up for it by introducing a brand new helmet mold for the Oni-like mask that the motorcycle stunt rider is wearing that you can actually put horns or hair pieces on the inside, and a brand new printed visor for the helmet as well. But my favorite bike introduced for this year is set number 60333, the Bathtub Stunt Bike. It's a brand new mold of a bathtub over a bike, featuring a duck-themed minifigure with a duck tattoo on his back, a tiny little rubber duck on the front of the bike itself, and of course the bathtub featuring the racing duck on the side of it. What is not to like, because of course this channel is called Duck Bricks. This is probably my favorite bike and the most charming one for me in particular. But of course your mileage may vary. This, I do feel, is a great inclusion by the designers though. Moving onwards, we have the rest of the stunt sets themselves. First off are a series of stunt challenge sets. They retail for around $35 US, but only 20 euros, making them incredibly overpriced in the US and pretty fairly priced everywhere else. The Shark Attack stunt challenge here features some spinning sharks and a airplane-themed motorcycle to jump through it. It's kind of a whole pirate-themed set in particular. The Knockdown stunt challenge features Poppy Star, one of the main characters from the City Adventures TV show, with her own motorcycle and a cake knockdown stunt bike challenge. And the Blade stunt challenge features a recolor of the Ninjago Prime Empire blades in dark transparent blue, as well as a cyber-themed motorcycle rider and a high-tech music-themed stunt course to boot. Moving onwards, we have the Smashing Chimpanzee stunt loop, retailing for around 50 euros or $70 US. It features one large loop and a smashing chimpanzee to boot. The loops, as you can see in the video linked in the description below, honestly don't work too well. It took me many tries to make them go around the loops, but I guess that was kind of part of the fun, trying to do it over and over to get them to actually go on the loops themselves. And finally, we have the massive double loop stunt arena, retailing for 140 euros or $150 US. This comes with 2 different loops and a couple other stunt challenges to boot. Sure, the stunts line is probably one of the most overpriced lines of sets that LEGO has ever done for LEGO City Stunts, but then again, it does include a lot of really fun play features and a ton of brand new large molds, so it definitely is at least somewhat understandable given the amount of brand new stuff that we're actually getting in each of these stunt sets themselves. But wait, there's more, because stunts is not the only LEGO City sub-theme we are getting for the rest of this year. We have actually a brand new LEGO City train sub-theme, which we have not gotten in many years, starting off with the train station, retailing for around 75 euros or $100 US, which is kinda ridiculous for the US price there, but it features a train station for the first time in actually quite a while. I love the detail of the plants alongside the train station itself and the multicolor wall artwork on it. It is very shallow and simple, but it does include road plates and a bus, which definitely bumped the price up quite a lot. Don't know if they really needed to include road plates in a set like this, but I did pick it up because I am trying to collect and combine all of the LEGO City road plate sets. But of course the main foci are on the trains themselves. So starting off, we have the Express Passenger Train. It retails for around $180 US, but only 150 euros, so a pretty great price for euros, but a pretty much $40 difference for the US price. This is definitely one of the best passenger trains LEGO has made, hands down, in a long time. I am a massive fan of the way that this particular set turned out. I think that this is a great return to form for LEGO trains. After not actually getting LEGO trains in quite a while, I am incredibly excited to build this. I already have it picked up, and it is definitely one of the trains that will go down in history, I think, as one of the better passenger trains we've gotten from LEGO. But that's not all, because we also are getting a freight train for $200 US or 190 euros. This is the freight train right here, so kind of a similar price, so to speak there. It is fully motorized and does include some tie-ins to the current LEGO City sub-themes, like the farm sub-theme, which they just introduced on June 1st. It does come with a very large forklift type build, as well as a solar charging panel for some of the car carriers, and it definitely is an upgrade from the previous freight train we got in 2018. It's just nice that LEGO is continuing to introduce train sets every few years or so. And with that, we have just one last set to take a look at. It is somewhat misplaced because it is somewhat farm related, but it's its own store, so I can understand why LEGO held it back. This is set number 60347 and features a grocery store for the first time in LEGO City form, including also a LEGO minifigure with a prosthetic limb for the first time, which I love to see. Great to see representation there, as well as some of the new tree branch elements introduced for LEGO Farm, and even a European-style can recycling center in the grocery store itself, which absolutely feels like it was influenced by European and not American shopping stores. Of course, because of the road plate, this set's price is very high in the US, but I definitely
definitely understand why they actually had to price it this way, and it isn't too bad, especially considering that it is a grocery store for the first time in LEGO City. And I love the recolor of the cart set, first featured in some LEGO Friends sets several years ago in 2019 in orange for this time. But with that, we have finally summed up every single one of the August 1st, 2022 sets releasing both everywhere around the world and also specifically in the US. From LEGO Star Wars to Ninjago to Monkie Kid to City to Friends to Technic to Super Mario and even Marvel, we have all sorts of brand new LEGO sets releasing on August 1st. There is a ton to see here, and man, are there a lot of great gems here. Of course, some of my favorite sets include the Sanctum Sanctorum, as well as the movie-styled inspired Speed Champions cars, great to see those, and of course, the stunning 90th anniversary celebration sets in the form of the Castle and the Galaxy Explorer are some of my favorites, and Star Wars also has a great showing here with some of the best sets releasing for the TV shows in particular, and finally getting that Phase 2 Cody in the ATTE. I love the LEGO Technic helicopter, which looks like it will be a great and stunning build to put together, and of course, Ninjago Crystallized is bringing its A-game with the minifigures for an epic conclusion to this era of LEGO Ninjago. All in all, LEGO has put a great selection of sets forward for August 1st, 2022, and now it's your time. Let me know in the comments below what are your most excited and anticipated sets for this particular release cycle. Now, I certainly am incredibly excited to build these all. I actually have most of them already purchased and built, at least for the ones that already have come out, and on August 1st, you bet I will be placing a massive shop-at-home order for pretty much everything else. So I can't wait to build these all, and do also let me know what you want to see reviewed in the comments below. I already have reviewed all the Ninjago, Monkie Kid, and City Stunt sets, but if there's anything else you want to see reviewed, let me know. I of course will be reviewing the 90th anniversary sets as soon as I get them, but beyond that, all of it is up to you, so do let me know, and I hope you enjoyed this massive in-depth look at the LEGO releases for August 2022.
Alright, and with that, we have summed up the massive LEGO August 1st, 2022 release cycle. Let me know down in the comments below which ones are you most excited to get, what are your favorites, and what are your least favorites. I just want to hear your thoughts. The comment section is all yours to share your most hyped sets for August 1st, 2022. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you all so much for tuning into Duckbricks. Subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thank you so much, and bye-bye for now.